Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Football Suite Chat Show. I'm your host Leon, as always with me, my co-host Richard. This week we have a returning guest, a regular now, as I'd say, Andrew the Arsenal fan.
Hi, thanks for having me on again, guys.
That's all right, mate.
Always welcome. The topics for today's episode are the match analysis from the UEFA Champions League matches, grassroots football and how it can be improved, Bayern Munich, can any German team stop their domination, and English referees, consistently terrible, a topic that I'm very interested in discussing. Right, so let's start off with the match analysis. I think we should start off with Real Madrid-Liverpool. Did you guys get to see the match?
Yeah, I got to see it. The Arsenal match was obviously on at the same time, so I had to flick in between the two. Yeah. But I thought Liverpool made a really good account of themselves, considering the team that went out and played. I mean, Kolo Touré went back to his original Arsenal days in that performance. He was absolutely amazing. He had Ronaldo in his pocket for a lot of the game. And I think, like I say, Liverpool really gave an account of themselves.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Kolo Touré had Ronaldo in his pocket.
I think he did quite well, considering it's Kolo Touré, don't forget.
Yeah, consider it. The Liverpool defence certainly did keep him quiet for the majority of the match. But you could say that about a lot of the attacking players at Real Madrid. They didn't really do much, considering we was all expecting an absolute hammering, as it were.
I think, in all fairness, they saw it as a friendly, didn't they? They weren't. They were Liverpool. The side, I think it would have been a different game if Liverpool had put a full strength team out. Real Madrid knew that Liverpool team was never ever going to trouble them in any way, shape or form. So why give it 110% when you've already won 3-0 away?
That's true.
Is this not with your United hat on though, Richard? In all fairness, is this not just because it's Liverpool though?
No, not at all. Look, at the end of the day, Liverpool, don't get me wrong, Liverpool have got a decent team. They've got a decent squad. But, look, let's be perfectly honest. It doesn't matter what team that Liverpool were playing during the week, whether it was in the Champions League, whether it was in the Europa League, whether it was in the FA Cup, the Premier League. No team is going to fear the Liverpool team that he put out, especially not the champions of Europe at the Bernabeu.
Yeah, definitely. And also, the fact is, they're not just a manager and 11 players. They've got a whole backroom staff. They watch Liverpool's matches back, and they know that they're not in the greatest of shape at the moment. So, they probably thought, let's not put a lot of effort into it. We know we're going to win. So maybe that's why it wasn't a 7-0, what we was all expecting.
The team that Liverpool put out, it was a great account of themselves, but if he puts a full strength Liverpool team out there, they might nick a goal or two. They nick a goal. You've seen Real Madrid crumble. I don't understand his selection, to be perfectly honest. I know he's defended it in the press, and
the only reasoning, but personally, I could think behind it is he knew that they were going to get defeated, and they probably didn't want that low morale on the first team. That's the only reason I can think of that selection. You
can't have that sort of attitude with any football team, let alone Liverpool. Are one of the let's be honest. Liverpool are one of the feared clubs throughout Europe.
Yeah.
Regardless of what form they're in the Premier League, regardless of whether the last time they won a trophy, regardless of whether they've got Luis Suarez, Liverpool are one of the feared teams throughout Europe. Real Madrid should have been worried that they'd drawn Liverpool in the Champions League. Not happy, and what
considering Liverpool played so good last year as well, and
exactly the press in Spain dressed it up as nothing but a friendly.
I definitely understand where you're coming from.
That's not Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool Football Club are feared throughout Europe, regardless of what they've done recently. And it's the same with United. It's they're feared throughout Europe. And they're not as not in the best of form. They've not won things, and
the perfect example. Ajax haven't won a lot for a while, but they're still known as one of the greats.
Exactly, it's the same with AC Milan. It's the same with Juventus. It's the same with Inter Milan.
Yeah,
that these clubs have got the history in the Champions League. You've got the history throughout the European football competitions.
Yeah.
And They should have. They put a great account of themselves, but I think if he puts a full strength team out there, it's a completely different game. They nick a goal or two on the break because they've got that in him. It's a different game of football.
But the thing is, though, if Rodgers gets 3 points on Saturday, he made a great decision. If the players he rested play 100% against Chelsea and win, he made the right call because he realised he could have played everybody against Real Madrid, got absolutely annihilated, as we're saying, and then morale so had Chelsea go up to Anfield and absolutely destroy them.
True, but I also think that, not boasting, but Chelsea, we have a very strong team at the moment, so what would have been lost of going there beating Real Madrid potentially and then going into that match morale high because you've just beaten the current champions? Well,
yeah, I see that point. It's just I am struggling trying to make my own point here because it is the fact of, I don't know why he did it neither.
Yeah, no, it's another Brendan Rodgers mystery, isn't it?
Exactly.
One of the greatest managers the Premier League's ever seen, but that's it. But
he might have just thought the fact that it is Real Madrid, we're going to get beat. But I mean, like what Richard said, Richard made a great point. Liverpool should not be going to Real Madrid saying they're better than us, we're going to put a weak side out.
Liverpool shouldn't be going anywhere
for
any football team, regardless of what they've done and where they've been. Liverpool Football Club should not be fearing any football team.
Yeah, and I think you also get that with experience, though. A lot of their players in the current team, they're not the most experienced of players. Maybe if you have a few sort of like world beaters in there, they probably wouldn't. But they've got a lot of players in that team are sort of journeymen. You wouldn't pick them for your team, as it were.
They've got players for the future, haven't they? A few of them. Is he doing the right thing? Building a squad now of youngish talent. Is it right? Should he really have maybe? After the season they had last season where, we've said before they should have won the league, should he really have spent that extra £5 million and got an extra special player to maybe kick on and put the fear into teams?
Well, the thing is that if you go ahead and do that, it shows that, you're willing to compete. If you bring in 4 or 5 players that are okay and people only know them from YouTube videos, they're never gonna strike fear as it would bringing in a £65+ million player.
Yeah, it's difficult though, isn't it? At the end of the day,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
we're looking at it with hindsight, aren't we? But every Liverpool fan I talk to say that, but only because of hindsight, they do say they wish all the Suarez money just went straight back on another striker.
It went on half of Southampton's team, didn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And considering we could all see the problems last year, we all thought even with Sturridge they were particularly
I think
good.
That's been the biggest issue for them. Not only have they lost Suarez, which obviously is going to be a dent in anybody's armour, regardless of what you've done in the previous season, but Sturridge seems to have obviously been constantly injured, and you've lost your strike force there of your week in week out, apart from when he was banned, etc. But every single week it was Suarez and Sturridge up front, and now it's both of them are not there at present, and I think it's going to be difficult. And is it going to change when is Sturridge and Balotelli going to be able to play together? And
I've never personally been a big fan of Balotelli, but you try and give players the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not seeing it with him. I'm really not. I don't know how long he'll last there. Not very patient.
Talk of him going to Napoli, aren't they, in January?
Oh dear.
Rafa Benitez wants him, don't he?
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
That'll be interesting if they. I think me and Leon spoke about it ourselves this week, and I've seen it obviously on the social media side with Liverpool, with fans arranging to have I don't know whether it's a banner or whether it's a plain banner or whether it's a banner in the stadium for this weekend's game about Brendan Rodgers being a football genius and he needs to leave the club because all he's bought is players from Swansea and Southampton. 6 months ago he was the He was the new Bill Shankly. He was the saviour. He was the Messiah. You know, it's crazy. If Liverpool get rid of Brendan Rodgers, then it's just fan power, in my opinion.
But also, if they get rid of him, who are they going to replace him with? You know, a lot of players don't see that. They just see get rid of the problem and it will be solved. When in hindsight, it's never going to be solved like that, because it's always going to take a lot. We've seen that with Chelsea. You know, we've got rid of a manager and we spend half a season like trying to sort out the current problems that the next manager has.
I think it'll be the same at Man City. I don't think Pellegrini is going to last. I'll be surprised if he lasts till January, to be perfectly honest. I think if they get knocked out of the Champions League, he'll be gone. And Man City are going to be in the same...
Aren't they technically already out of the Champions League?
Not really. They can still qualify, can't they? Other results have got to go their way. But I think I think if they go out, I think it'll be a case of, you know, it's another manager that's failed in the Champions League. The same breath as Abramovich. You know, you can't spend all that money on the squad and keep consistently getting knocked out of the Champions League group stages. No. And let's be perfectly honest. This season, bar Bayern Munich, they should be finishing second in that group.
Yeah,
they're miles better than Roma. They're miles better than CSK Moscow. They shouldn't be getting defeated at home by CSK Moscow.
No, definitely. Let's go on to the next match in the analysis. I'm going to go for Arsenal Anderlecht.
No. let's not.
No, I actually didn't have the pleasure of watching this game.
I saw 3-0 Arsenal. Actually, no, I saw 2-0 Arsenal, and I thought, I'm not watching the rest of this. It's going to be a walk in the park. You know, they'll probably get a couple more, then sit back and just continue their lead. I had it on in the background, and then I saw one goal go in, and then I just thought, no, it can't be. But then I saw Flamini was playing, and he hasn't been that good this year, and fell apart. What else can I say? What do you think, Andrew?
Well, can I just ask you, what team in world football who's just conceded a penalty to make it 3-1 brings on two attacking players in Rosicky and Podolski?
Yeah, I did see that the pundits in the Sky Sports room were having particular a go at Wenger for that reason alone.
But it's unthinkable to be 3-0 up against Anderlecht, concede a goal, which is completely fine, but then to actually go, I actually can't think of words to describe what that performance was. It just shows Wenger's lack of tactics at the minute, and it just, I do not blame Monreal. I blame him for the penalty, but I don't blame him in the sense of how he plays, because he's out of position. Yeah. He's a left back playing at centre back. It's against Hull, and I didn't blame him for the goal, because what do you expect when you go into a Premier League season or a league season where you're going to be in at least 4 trophies? If you're going in with Koscielny and Mertesacker and that's it at centre back, you are not going to do anything. Like, look at Chelsea, look at Man United. It's squad in depth. It's these managers going into a season prepared. Wenger I don't know what's thinking through his mind. He's bought Sanchez. He's just going for attack. I think he's trying to copy Man United. He's trying to go attacking, but not thinking about defence. He does not think about defence in one sense at all when he's managing. He doesn't even actually shout at the players while they're playing. Look at Mourinho away at Old Trafford. 90 minutes he was stood on the sideline making sure everyone was doing their thing. He made sure that those players heard him, and Wenger just doesn't do it one bit.
I can't agree more. It's
I think the turning point in that game was quite possibly taking off the world's best player in Danny Welbeck with 9 minutes to go. You
know what, Richard? This is going to really hurt me to say, but the last 3 games, I see what you meant about Danny Welbeck.
He runs about a lot, don't he? Bless him. Bless his little cottons. He can run, that lad. It's just a shame he can't play football. But that's
brutal it is. But I think it's enough one of those things. We've talked about it on a couple of episodes before, where Wenger, why didn't he just retire at the end of last season? It would have been a perfect finish for him. He'd have won a trophy and he could have bowed out gracefully. And then for years to come, Arsenal fans would have had, if he'd have only stayed a couple of years, he would have won this, won that. That would have been the talking point. But all we've got is just another failed season, and you can see how it's panning out.
He should have retired after the Invincible season. It's been all downhill since then. Won an
FA Cup after it. Got to a Champions League final after it.
Yeah. I don't think after, but I think maybe the season Van Persie went to United, but then saying that you don't.
After that, he'd have been hated if he'd sold Van Persie and retired. I think you said it best. He should have retired. After the FA Cup final. But
I was speaking to Arsenal fans, and they all agree. He probably should have retired. But then after that win and spending a bit of money, and considering the way that Ramsey was playing, he probably thought if they're fit, maybe we could challenge. For considering how long they were at the top for.
I think he makes $7 million a year, and he doesn't see the point. Like I was saying, I think last episode or the episode before, he has one objective: finishing the Champions League, and gets $7 million a year for it. He's the highest paid manager in Europe. He's not that bothered as long as he gets that check at the end of the season. He doesn't mind.
Yeah,
he's got plenty of time left in him. He's only 65.
But it's like you say, if the ambition's not there, what's the point?
That's true. That is true. Right, let's jump on to the next match. It's going to pain me to say it, but Chelsea Maribor.
It's not all it's made out to be, this Champions League malarkey, is it, lads? Hey?
All I'm going to say is I was watching that match, and I wouldn't have felt at anything if Maribor went on to win that, because the way that they played, I think it's quite unfair actually, because news articles are having poorest Chelsea performance ever. Yeah, it was poor, but you've also got to praise the opposition because they were very good. A lot of people aren't praising the opposition, but their defence was quality. They took their chances. End of. We got the goal. We didn't lose, but I wouldn't have been bothered if we did, because I thought Maribor played good enough to get that win.
It's Royal Rovers stuff, isn't it? It's the romance of a cup competition. Quite possibly 95% of the footballing population have probably never heard of him, but they'll go down in history now as a team that drew 1-1 with Chelsea. The superstars of Chelsea Football Club. Let's go back a few years. There was a time when Chelsea weren't as well known throughout Europe, and if Chelsea had got to the Champions League knockout stages or group stages 15, 20 years ago, most
definitely.
of the world's best clubs wouldn't have known who they were. But it's just one of them. It happens in football. It's a freak result. I'm guarantee you that 99 times out of 100, Chelsea score 4 or 5 goals in any game at any stadium.
Yeah, definitely.
That calibre. But it's just one of those days where it was their day, and like you say, it could have been a win for them.
Definitely, and like I said a minute ago, I wouldn't have been bothered if we lost that, because not in the fact that I don't care if Chelsea lose or not, because of course I do. But when you see another team like that, especially small stadium, it's a small team but has a lot of passion and played their hearts out.
Man City.
No, because they filled their stadium. But yeah, put them in the comments, people. But with that, you see a bit of passion behind there. You see players playing their heart out. They sat back when they needed to. They attacked when they need to, and an all-round brilliant performance. And I don't think they'd be hurt by drawing, but they probably would have. They probably should have got the win. If only they'd have sat back at certain times a bit more. But, that happens in football.
It's a different game of football altogether, and it's a different talking point if Hazard scores the penalty in the 87th minute. So it's like you say, it's just one of those nights where it goes for the smaller club. We've all been part of them. As Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, United fans. Yeah. We've all had the smaller club come and knock us out of a competition or cost us 3 points in the league when you're expecting to have an easy win.
Yeah,
it was just one of them nights, and and what better stage for the team to do it on than the Champions League.
But it doesn't make any difference to your group, does it? I mean, you're going to walk it anyway, so it's just a nice story. And as a Chelsea fan, it doesn't make. It's just a little bit of a blip, and you're just going to carry on and win the group most likely.
Well, you hope so, don't you? But that's the thing. You never know in group stages. One result and it opens up the whole table. But yeah, let's get on to the next match. One I know Richard will be very interested to talk about: Manchester City, CSK Moscow.
Yeah, let's let Richard start this one off.
Yep.
Look, let's be honest. It's Man City are more than capable of beating any team in world football. They should not be struggling in the Champions League.
No.
It's as simple as that. They are good enough on their day to give Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Chelsea, any of the big clubs around world football a game and quite possibly beat them. Man City should not be struggling to win games in the Champions League. And I can't explain it.
Definitely.
The first season, you can say, well, it's the first year in the Champions League. It's a different atmosphere. It's a different kettle of fish. The second year, it's the second year in, give them a chance. But come on, they've got some of the best players in the world in Yaya Toure, Aguero. I know David Silva didn't play, but David Silva, they've got Vincent Kompany. They've got a backbone there that only the likes of Arsenal in the Invincible days and United in the treble season, of Peter Schmeichel, Jaap Stam, Roy Keane, York and Co. They've got a backbone there that's capable of beating any team, and I can't understand why Manchester City. And also,
it's a group stage. You've got a lot of matches going on. Like, it's not a knockout game where one bad result and you're out. This is a few results, and I think a perfect example. They haven't got as much as they've got a good squad. I don't see that team instinct with them. I see a lot of mercenary players.
It looks to me, and this isn't a biased point of view, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think if Manchester United keep 11 men on the pitch, we beat them. They didn't look anything special in the Manchester derby. The Manchester derby wasn't anything special. Don't get me wrong, United didn't look anything special either. But the last 20 minutes...
But considering United are in transition,
Well, yeah, but I don't think United had conceded a goal in that game if Smalling doesn't get sent off, if we don't get the injuries. And I think the last 15, 20 minutes, Man City looked like they were out on the feet. And if we had 11 men on the pitch, we'd have quite possibly pushed a little bit more and not left ourselves as exposed at the back. But, there's something seriously wrong at Manchester City Football Club. There has to be. Because Yaya Toure doesn't want to leave the champions of England if he's not got some sort of issue at the football club. You don't sell a player in Negredo or loan a player like Negredo out when he's had a...
Yeah, I couldn't work that one out either.
I think it looks to me exactly the same situation as what Man City had a couple of seasons ago when Mancini lost the dressing room. It looks to me like Pellegrini's lost the dressing room, and Yaya Toure seems to be a bad influence on the whole situation, and I think he just wants to leave.
I can't work out how Yaya Toure has gone from the player he was to the player he is now. I really can't.
It's a typical example of a player not wanting to be at a football club.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that, and anybody can see that. Anybody can see he doesn't want to be at a football club, and I don't care who you are, whether you're a hardcore Manchester City fan that goes week in, week out, or whether you're an individual football fan. Nobody wants a player at their football club that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
Regardless of how good he is, and was it PSG that offered 35 million for him in the summer?
I think, it was either them or Barcelona, wasn't it?
So, turning down 35 million pounds for a player that doesn't want to be at your football club.
But also not even that. It's if a player has said that he doesn't want to be at your club, like nothing's going to persuade him after that, you know. And I don't understand why you'd want to keep him because.
But what's going on at that football club for these world class players to do this? Look at Tevez going on strike. Why did he not want to be at the football club? You know, Balotelli didn't want to be there. Yaya Toure doesn't want to be there. What's going on behind the scenes for these world-class players that are on hundreds of £1,000s a week for not wanting to... The only player for me, obviously, apart from Joe Hart and Vincent Kompany, the only player for me that seems like he's been a Man City fan his entire life is Sergio Aguero. And he's probably the least expected player. You'd think... What did everybody said a few years ago? He's only going from Atletico Madrid to Manchester City because Atletico will never sell him to Real Madrid. So he'll go to City for 12 months and he'll go to Real Madrid. That bloke looks like he's been a Man City fan since the day he was born.
Yeah. You was going to say something then, Andrew.
Oh yeah, well, it was just a point about Man City. And I was just going to say Richard also has a really good point about there's something in Man City that makes these players do what they do. But also, I just wanted to point out the Man City fans last night. I don't know if it might have been no away fans to bounce off of, but I mean, we've all been to Champions League nights. It's something special when you hear that music. Yeah. And I understand why City fans are booing it and everything, but let's take that away. But I mean, a Champions League night, I mean, it's amazing. We all know what it's like, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, though, there was a really, really big bonfire on in Stockport. And there was loads of fireworks, toffee apples. You know, it's a toss-up, Champions League or a bonfire in Stockport. And obviously they went for the bonfire, didn't they? Bless them. But
you know what? It's not far from the truth because the atmosphere at that match was ridiculous.
Do you know why the atmosphere was ridiculous? And this is a serious point. Buy one, get one free season tickets. Yeah. Anybody and everybody went to that game on Wednesday night. Not real fans. The atmosphere was typical of a pre-season friendly.
Yeah.
Because it was buy one, get one free. You know, I'd rather not have a full stadium and have 50% full of the hardcore week in, week out fans.
Yeah.
Than have 100% of fans that can't be bothered going week in, week out.
And a lot of them are corporate as well, aren't they? A lot of them are like, you know, boss has given me a ticket for this match, so I thought I might as well use it, sort of thing.
Who at Manchester City thought that was a good idea, though?
I think a lot of them see it as a business, though. I don't think people see it as, you know, a lot of them. I'm not trying to say that they haven't got proper fans, but there's a lot of fans that go to that match that have been fans since they got the money. And there's a lot of fans, main road week in, week outers, that probably haven't got the chance to go to that match.
They'll be back at Stamford Bridge when they get knocked out of the Champions League. Don't worry about it.
I was going to say as well, this is from a Chelsea fan. Even their own manager said that they've got a quiet stadium.
Yeah, and
you know, look, at the end of the day, Man City are currently in the process of expanding the stadium. And they're giving away buy one, get one free tickets. I've never seen anything so contradictory in my entire life. Let's expand the stadium because we can't fit everybody in, but we have to give buy one, get one free tickets away from Champions League night.
Yeah. And one thing, I will go back to what Andrew just said and about the Chelsea thing. And, you know, part of me agrees with Mourinho, but part of me doesn't, because when you go to Stamford Bridge on a home match, yeah, you do get a lot of tourist fans, and it's not the atmosphere you want to see. You know, you want to see people that go to love the club. A lot of these people go because, you know, they can easily get tickets. You know, it's very simple to get tickets, and also it's not cheap anymore, so the hardcore fans aren't going to go if they have to pay something like £35 for them and their children. You know, it's not a cheap sport anymore, you know.
No.
It's a rich man's sport, if anything, now. You know, all it is about is making money, and we're losing character, especially in the Premier League.
Is that what Mourinho was trying to do then, do you think?
I think
a sly little dig to the people above?
I don't know. I think he seemed very poor that match, because even with the Oscar goal, it was fantastic. He didn't even smile. Yeah. I feel like he had one of them off days, and he's just trying to take digs at everyone.
But as like a season ticket,
it coincides with the young Chelsea fan. Was it on Twitter or Instagram a few days ago that messaged John Terry about the ticket prices and the atmosphere and things? John Terry responds to that and says we'll try and help, and then all of a sudden Mourinho comes out and says the fans aren't supporting. It just seems to be it cynically, was it a publicity stunt?
Potentially, but then he's got to remember, as much as we all want to see what Mourinho said. We all want to be in like rocking stadiums, but don't blame the fans. No, this is what board meetings for. This is why you have 12 people on the board. So don't bring it to the fans. Hit it where it will do something, because none of these tourist fans aren't going to go, yeah, we're not going to come anymore because we don't want to upset Mourinho.
You should take after Man United and get yourself a singing section. It's rocking at Old Trafford these days. I've never seen an atmosphere like it. On your feet, clapping your hands. It's brilliant.
Yeah, but let's get away from the match analysis. That went quite long. That was actually a really good discussion. But our next topic is grassroots football and how it can be improved. So, guys, what do you think of this topic?
Better coaching. It is as simple as that. Does anybody know how much it costs to train to be a coach in England?
Is it 5,000? I think it is to get to the top bit.
Yep, there or thereabouts. Do you know how much it costs in other countries?
Nothing, probably.
About 500 quid.
Just shows it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it shows you that, and also, I was listening to TalkSport the other day, and they said Stan Collymore said that teenagers are millionaires before they've even played a full season.
Yeah.
With a mentality like that, what are you really expecting?
Well, that's the thing. It's what you've got to look at. I think it's Barcelona have got an academy, and I'm pretty positive. I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty positive that they have their kids' teams. They're schooled by Barcelona. They go to school through Barcelona. They play football. They're taught passing, moving. They're not taught to score a wonder goal and take everybody on and whatever else. They're taught how to play a team game. And how many? Let's be honest. How many teenage stars throughout the world of football do you see on the front of newspapers in Spain, the fronts of newspapers in Italy, the fronts of newspapers in Germany?
A lot of the time you don't see them, because a lot of the time they're either on loan, quiet. You don't see nightclubs, and they're not in exposure to
breed football. That's all they do. The English mentality of a footballer is make as much money as quickly as possible and let's go and spend it.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at. I mean, we're not just talking about this day and age. We're not just talking about now the players these days and the millions of money that teenagers, 16, 17-year-olds are on. Look at Luke Shaw at Manchester United. He's 18 years of age, and he's just signed for Manchester United for £27 million. He'll be on 100 grand a week.
Wow.
Not just this caliber of player. Go back to Lee Sharp. Had all the potential in the world to be one of the best United players there was, to be in the same caliber as Ryan Giggs, but he preferred the party lifestyle.
Yeah, and it seems to be. Wow. It's not just a few players. It seems like all of the English players coming through are of this style.
It's the English mentality. Not just footballers. I'm talking about the English people's mentality. Is to work Monday to Friday and go and have a good time at the weekends. And as a footballer, you can't change your mentality. Look at Gary Neville. Gary Neville lost lifelong friends because he made a choice as a teenager that he was going to do everything he could to be a professional footballer at Manchester United for his entire career. And he knew if he kept his mates that he'd been mates with his entire life, he'd be out drinking, smoking, partying, girls, whatever it was. And he made that decision to fall out with people and never speak to people ever again for the sake of his career.
Yeah.
That's a sacrifice he made. He might not have never made it, and he might have had to, at the age of 25, had to start building bridges with people that he'd known since he was 5. But he made that decision because he wanted to better himself as a footballer. The players you've got these days, they don't care. It's money in the bank. And I guarantee you, if the wages were reduced in English football, it'd be a different mentality. It'd be a different kettle of fish. And it'd be a better standard of football all round.
Definitely, I agree. A big sort of figure in this topic is a player that you'll know well, Andrew, is Jack Wilshere.
Yeah.
He obviously I wasn't there to see when he was younger. Obviously, we don't know what was said, but it looks like he's been told from the youngest age up that he's the best, that he doesn't have to do anything but turn up to the match, and he'll be told he's Jack Wilshere and he's the best he can be. What do you make of this?
I was just going to say, I do feel sorry for you, the fact that you couldn't see Jack Wilshere when he was about 17, because I always remember me and my dad going to the Emirates Cup a few years ago when he was about 17, and he played like a young, like at the same age Lionel Messi. It was absolutely ridiculous, and I think Richard has just basically teed you up there for Jack Wilshere, because he's just described Jack Wilshere perfectly in the example of somebody who's got money a bit too much, and exactly what you said, been told turn up and you'll be fine, and here's where he is now. If you don't support Arsenal, you see Jack Wilshere as you two probably do, as very quite average, because he hasn't done anything. He's on his way, if he carries on, to being a massive wasted talent.
Yeah.
Look at who's grassroots football, okay? Who in the long run, if grassroots football was improved and money was piled into grassroots football, who in the long run is going to benefit? It's going to be the big clubs, the big football clubs, the Premier League teams, the Championship teams. Why can these clubs that are multi-billionaire clubs not plough £10 million each into grassroots football?
Well, they definitely should.
Can I
Liverpool.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, but I've just done a bit of homework on that exact point, and I'm very happy you brought it up, Richard. I did some homework today, and I've noticed that if you take all the transfers from the top 6 last season, and you just get the players that were over £5 million, 1% of each of those fees, if you took that away and put that into grassroots football, you'd give grassroots football £544,310. That's 1% of every transfer they've done over £5 million.
So
that's amazing.
It's a great stat and it's a great figure. So why can't they put that money into grassroots football? Because it might not be an instant turnaround for your £1 million or for your £500,000 or for your £10 million, but in 10 years' time, when 15 kids come through the ranks that have had the best coaching, the best pitches, the best training, the best upbringing, that in regards to the football lifestyle, they're going to benefit in years to come. I don't understand why we struggle in this country for grassroots football. Spain, the big clubs help in Spain. The big clubs plough money into grassroots football. They do coaching sessions. They have open sessions. They have kids going to open days at training grounds and whatever else. That it's more accessible, and it stands to reason as to why the Germans and the Spanish and the Portuguese then end up becoming the world's best players.
Yeah, definitely. I also wanted to put a point in that I'm not 100% sure with this, but I know that in Bundesliga ruling that you're only allowed to play, you're only allowed to have a certain amount of foreign players in your squad. And if this is true, then maybe this is something the Premier League should think of, because at the moment with Chelsea, okay, we have Terry and Cahill as the, definite starters without a doubt, but there isn't many other English players that are getting in that team, let alone squad. So if this came in, then it has... Okay, whether we buy certain players, but then if we buy an English player and use him, then it's improving the English game anyway. But if we bring in some youth players and give them a run around, then that's going to help as well.
You've got to look at it at this point of view, okay, in regards to grassroots football in England. You honestly just... If I turned around to you now and said, name me an English player playing in the top leagues around the world, who could you give me?
Danny Welbeck.
Outside of the Premier League, and I don't know whether the Sky...
The last one I remember was Beckham.
Right, but talking right now, if I turn around to you and said, I'll give you £5 million each if you name me a player in the next 2 seconds who's playing in this big teams, big leagues around the world that's English.
Trick question, not one.
Exactly. You go to Spain and ask them how many of your top players are playing in England, Germany, France.
Yeah.
It's people don't want the English side because we don't. Look, it's down to sheer luck, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's not a case of we don't nurture these players. We don't nurture them through. It's a case of, look, it's sheer luck. You get scouted as a kid, you might get to a big club, and you might make it. In the Premier League, you might make it through to the first team. But look what happens to the players that don't. Look at all the players that get released by big clubs and then struggle finding a team, struggle finding a club.
Yeah, wasn't it the young Manchester City kid, Johnson?
Yeah,
his life went downhill incredibly, and
they were talking about him being the next big player in the next big thing, the next 20 years of English football. He's now retired with mental health issues.
Yes, it's not good to see, and you can see how it affects players as well, because it's not just the fact that he got released and went downhill a bit. Like they feel that their lives are over once this happens.
Yeah, what's happened to David Beckham's soccer school or whatever it was that he opened?
Well, it's not interested because it's not in publicity anymore. I think that's what football players want when they retire. They just want publicity.
Look at what Glenn Hoddle did. Glenn Hoddle, fair play to him. He took the rejections is a strong word, but the players that have been released from football clubs that were struggling to find a team. And he gave them that second opportunity, and the vast majority of them were signed up by clubs. But it's players are just released too easily, and you're too small, or you're not quick enough, or your face doesn't fit, or whatever it is, and then they struggle. Then they struggle, and how can you really compete with being at Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool? Week in, week out as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, and then get to 18, 19, and all of a sudden you're at Yeovil Town.
Yeah, definitely. And also with, a lot of teams have like 10, 15 scouts. These scouts aren't staying in England. They're roaming the world looking for the next Ronaldo, the next Messi. So, and they'll always find a player who can replace you. I mean, I'm sure that's...
Look at the difference in Spain as well, the difference in teams that they've got. They don't have an under-21s Barcelona team. They don't have an under-18s Barcelona team. They have a team. They have a squad, a league that's competitive where you can win trophies. Not the under-21s Premier League that nobody goes to,
and also nobody cares about it. It's like you look at leagues and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure every single player in a 21 team would prefer to be out on loan in competitive football. Yeah. Because they know that playing and growing with a certain team is good when you're a kid, but the minute you hit like 16, 17, you want to be competitive, and the only way to do that is first team football. And I admire players that are happy to go on loan into a League Two team, because it shows that they want to play football, and that's what players lose.
The best way that the under-21 system, especially in the Premier League, can be described is, what is the first thing that everybody says, the minute a player does something wrong, the minute a first-team player, so for instance, Chris Smalling getting sent off against Manchester City, the first thing that everybody said on social media, anybody that was talking about it, I'd stick him in the under-21s for a few weeks. That'll teach him. Being in the under-21s is classed as a punishment in this country.
Yeah.
Stick him in the under-21s for a bit.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
How do you think that makes all the under-21s feel? Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Let's punish our best our players that play week in, week out by sticking them in the under-21s.
Yeah, it's the same with... Actually, I won't talk about it now because it's our last topic, but same with the referees and getting punished by going a league below. But let's jump on to the next topic, and I'll let Andrew start us off with this. But Bayern Munich, can any German team stop their domination?
See, now this is an interesting topic because obviously, like, when we think of, because it comes back to the Champions League, it's that fact of is Bayern Munich when they do run away with the Bundesliga, is it because all the other teams are bad, or is it because they're so good? Because whereas with our league in the Barclays Premier League, anybody can beat anybody, but I think because we have that now, what we've got now is a not as good big teams. Do you see what I mean? It's that fact that maybe we've lost that technique where it's like Bayern Munich, who walked the league by March. It's not because everyone else is bad, it's because they are that good.
Is it really, though? Is it not the case of Germany's Bundesliga's just a glorified Scottish Premier League?
Well, but if you look at it at the minute, though, Bayern Munich are on top with 24 points. There's two teams behind them equally on 20 points, so it's not. No one's walking away with it. Granted, there's only been 10 matches.
It's not a case of walking away with it, but look, before Rangers went into administration and obviously demoted through the leagues, it was who's going to win the Scottish Premier League, Rangers or Celtic. That was it, Rangers or Celtic. Whereas even back in the day, it was a case of, look at the first Premier League season. Who was going to win it? Was it Villa? Was it United? Then it was Blackburn, then it was Newcastle, then it was Arsenal, then it was Chelsea, then it's Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Manchester United. It's one of six clubs could quite easily win the Premier League. There's Barcelona, there's Real Madrid, there's Atletico Madrid, there's Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma. All these teams have got the capabilities of winning the leagues. When you go to the Bundesliga, it's Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund, and all Bayern Munich do is buy Borussia Dortmund's best players.
Yeah.
So it's not rocket science, is it? It's like when Man City first got their money. It wasn't rocket science. They bought the best players from their rivals, and at the time, their rivals were Arsenal for that fourth Champions League place. So they bought your Nasri's, your Adebayors, and they bought Arsenal's best players that they could get hold of. Bayern Munich have bought Borussia Dortmund's best players, so now they're a world ahead of that team.
But also, go ahead, mate.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so if, let's say, for example, when Man City got their money, let's just say they outbought everybody. So from 2008, they've just outbought everybody. Do you think at this moment in time now, we'd probably be looking at Man City as champions of Europe?
No, because the history, the foundations that other clubs have got, of your Chelseas, your Arsenals, your Liverpools, your Evertons, your Manchester Uniteds, they've still got that lure. It's not about the wages, it's not about them, it's about the football club. But in Germany, look, let's be honest, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Schalke, name me another German team in the Bundesliga.
Hamburg.
Another one?
Cologne.
Another one?
Mönchengladbach.
Another one?
Hoffenheim.
Another one?
Mainz.
Another one?
Hertha Berlin.
Get off the table, Andrew.
I was struggling there after Hamburg, to be fair.
There you go. What my point is, you need to look at the table to tell me who they are. You go to any country in the world, and anybody will name the top 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams in the Premier League. They'll name the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 top teams in the Spanish League. You go to anywhere in the world and ask somebody who plays in the Scottish Premier League, they'll probably tell you Celtic or Rangers.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Germany.
That is true. And also, I'd like to talk about something Andrew said. With the Bayern Munich team, they also had a very strong setup anyway. You know, they had youth players coming through in Lahm, Müller and stuff like that. But then they had the team. You know, they had the team with Gomez, but then Gomez went, and then now Lewandowski's there. But they had a perfect team, and then bought players that they really didn't need to buy. You know, they didn't have to buy Goetze, they didn't have to buy Xabi Alonso, they didn't have to buy Shaqiri, but they did. You know, they've gone from a team who was already brilliant to now having a team who could probably field the second best starting 11 and still come second after the current Bayern Munich team. And I kind of feel that no team will stop them, but unless something happens to them, like City, where a very wealthy man will come in and buy a certain team. But then that's also going to take time, and it's not going to be a quick process.
That's the thing, though, that can't happen in Germany as well as it does as easy as it does here, because fan ownership's so big there.
Exactly.
So teams won't be dying to get a billionaire, because the first thing they're going to think of is the ethics of the club are going to go.
Exactly. And I don't know how that's going to be changed. I don't know if it can be changed after that. You know, will Bayern Munich be one of these teams that will dominate for the rest of the Bundesliga?
But who's going to compete with them? You know, who honestly, you know, look, let's talk about it logically. We can go through the Manchester United finished where they finished last season. But you can go through their team and you can name 5, 6 world-class players. You can go through Arsenal's team and, well, you've got Danny Welbeck, so they don't need anybody else. You can go through Chelsea's team and there's 4 or 5 world-class players. You can go through Man City's team and there's 4 or 5 world-class players. You name me a world-class player playing for Hamburg.
Rafa van der Vaart.
Is he world class?
No, he's never been world class.
And you've got the young lad, haven't you, Draxler? You've got him
for Schalke. Yeah,
he'll be playing in the Premier League next season, or he'll be playing in Spain, or he'll be playing at Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
it's as simple.
I think Bayern Munich will have a choice, and it's either by Marco Reus or by him, and I don't think they'll even get rid of a player to make way for him. I think they'd rather him sit on the bench, to be fair.
But the fact of the matter is that the world's best players playing in Germany are playing for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
That is why Bayern Munich are dominating. And if they're not currently playing for Bayern Munich, they will be in a couple of seasons' time.
Yeah.
But is this not the question then of the fact that have we seen Bundesliga as an example where the fans have so much ownership that nobody can come in with money, and that's why there is such a gap between the teams?
Well, it's catch-22, isn't it? You know, do you have a rich owner that charges you £600 for your season ticket, and it's €15 for your breakfast sausage and your Steiner beer? Or do you have your fans owning the teams? It's cheaper tickets, it's cheaper food and drink, but you don't attract the world-class players.
Yeah, and also considering the only team in recent years we've seen challenge them is Dortmund, and we've all seen what's happening to them now. You know,
but that's the classic situation, isn't it? Dortmund bought these players that nobody had heard of. You know, Lewandowski was going to Blackburn Rovers if it wasn't for the ash cloud.
Yeah.
He'd signed for Blackburn Rovers. And, you know, Dortmund get him. Nobody knows who he is. He becomes an absolute worldie of a player. And to be fair, was anybody really shocked and surprised that he went to Bayern Munich? Not really.
No, I can't. Especially the fact that we knew that Bayern Munich wanted a world-class striker, even though they didn't have any problems with Gomez, but they always want a world-class player in every position, and he's the only one who I could see who was world-class that was going to go there. You know, I don't see Bale going there. I don't see top players from other leagues going to Bayern Munich.
You then, pure and simple, that the Bundesliga is not made up of what everyone thinks it is.
No,
you don't have the likes of Messi and Ronaldo and Bale and Hazard. Do you really think Hazard will ever go and play in the Bundesliga?
Never.
Do you really think Ronaldo will? Do you think Messi will?
No.
These players, they want to play week in, week out, where it's going to be competitive football. Look at La Liga last season. It was probably the most exciting title race that I've seen in the whole time I've been watching Spanish football.
Yeah, it was very good.
It was Barcelona, we're Real Madrid. Week in, week out, it was chopping, it was changing, it was exciting. We all know now you can put 50 quid on it and Bayern Munich will win the Bundesliga this year.
A lot of the time they've won it within so many points spare as well. It's just ridiculous,
Which is another reason as well why I was massively disappointed with Pep Guardiola, because he had the opportunity to go to a club and rebuild, go to Chelsea, build, go to United, build, maybe go to Liverpool, build, go to Man City, build. And he decided to look. Let's be perfectly honest. My grandma could have won the Champions League with a Barcelona team he inherited.
Yeah,
anybody would have won titles.
He's considered the best manager in the world, and it has inherited two of the best teams in history.
Yeah, he's walked into the best team in Europe. Yeah, in Bayern Munich at the time.
And to be fair, he's even trying to make Bayern Munich's kit look like Barcelona.
Look, at the end of the day, look, it's not. I don't think anyone will ever stop the dominance of Bayern Munich, because
no one can spend enough to.
Yeah, nobody can spend enough. Nobody's going to be able to. Come on, let's be perfectly honest. Can Hamburg really attract the best players around in world football? They might attract an 18, 19-year-old wonder kid, and in 2 or 3 years' time, Bayern Munich buy him, or they might develop a wonder kid, and 2 or 3 years' time, Bayern Munich buy him. But that's the difference. There is the likes of Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Fiorentina, Roma, Lazio. They're not winning week in, week out. They're not winning trophies like they used to be, but they've still got that lure of playing for Lazio, playing for Juventus. Yeah. And that's why that league will always be competitive. You won't know who's going to win it. It's why the Premier League will always be competitive. It's why La Liga will always be competitive. And it's why Scottish football, sadly, will constantly be boring.
Yeah, it's true. Right, let's get on to the final topic of today's episode, and one I am very, very happy to talk about, and I think I'll make it a regular part in the show. English referees, consistently terrible.
Best in the world. Best in the world.
Andrew, what do you think?
I mean, my first show was me having a rant about referees, and I'm back here doing it again. They've took it massively too far now. They're going against regulations by going to an Ed Sheeran concert for a start.
Exactly.
It was Ed Sheeran.
Not saying Ed Sheeran's bad at all. I'm just saying it was that utter disrespect of, I don't care what, this is ironic because this is a referee saying this, I don't care what your rules are. I want to do what I want to do. I'm going to go and see Ed Sheeran, and I don't care that we all have to go on the coach at the same time. I'm getting really sick of not English referees, Premier League referees.
Yeah.
I noticed the other day someone said it's not Phil Dowd's fault when he makes some mistakes because he can't keep up with play. Phil Dowd's got two choices. He either has to get as fit as a footballer or he has to retire. Because when a Premier League player's legs have gone, he knows that's when time's up. And I think if our referees are not fit enough to keep up with Premier League players, bear in mind referees do get a decent wage, let's not forget, then they're not doing their jobs. Most of the referees' job is to be fit and keep up with play. The reason they miss so many penalties is because they're not keeping up with play.
Yeah, It's true. Especially, like, you see a few refs and they look fine, you know, they look like, you know, they look like they can keep up with play. And then you'll get someone who, like, Phil Dowd, and you think, why? Why are you on a football pitch? Because you look like you haven't got a clue. You know, he's
a bit of a bad rap here today. I hope we don't listen to this. Phil, nothing personal, mate.
It is personal, Phil. Like, don't listen to this show. We don't want you on here, Phil. But no,
next week.
But no, I can't believe how bad they've got. I've been saying it for a long while. You'll know, Richard. We've followed each other on Twitter for a while, but I can't believe how bad they are. Every single match I watch, there seems to be a mistake. You know,
when singing the praises when Drogba scored at Old Trafford when he was 4 weeks offside, though, weren't you? You weren't complaining then.
To be fair, I was. To be fair, no, honestly, I was. I was like, he's blatantly offside. You know, decisions like that, I don't mind. You know, if you've given a blatant offside, then fine. But if you've given like an offside that's clearly on, and it's just ridiculous. You know, the linesmen have got one job. To look down that line and keep up with play. A lot of the linesmen, they're like standing talking to the fourth official.
Yeah, but look, let's. I'm going to be really controversial here, guys, on this one. Look, United have had some dodgy decisions in the past against us. We've had plenty of decent decisions for us and against us, and whatever else. But is this not the beauty of the game? The fact that we're discussing this, look, the more we complain about this, the more we harp on about referees being this and that, the other, the more they're going to go into video replays. And this isn't being dramatic. The day they bring in video replays for every decision in football is the day I stop caring, because I don't want to watch a football match. As much as
I do argue about it, and you know, I love to argue about it as well, but I don't want things to change. I wasn't a big fan of goal line technology, even down to the fact when Liverpool didn't score against us in the Champions League. You know, still down to that, I wouldn't change it now.
But
you know,
it's talking points, and you know, it's. Was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? You'll have your opinion on whether it was. It might be a stonewall penalty, but someone will still say it wasn't. You know, was it offside? Was he onside? Was it handball? Did he pull him down in the box? You know, that's the beauty of the game, and it's the reason why we all love it, and it's the reason why we all get together.
That's
it's
true.
The reason why we watch Match of the Day. You know, there'd be no. If we had video replays for absolutely every incident in a football game, there would be no need for Monday Night Football. There'd be no need for soccer. There'd be nothing. There'd be no need for Match of the Day. There'd be no need for any sort of analysis, because there'd be nothing to talk about, because it's all sorted out in the game, lads. It took us 16 hours to get a 1-1 draw with Burnley away. But, you know, we've watched a few replays, and it wasn't a penalty. It was a penalty. It did go out for a throw, and it was off his leg. It's ridiculous.
And also, one thing I would say, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, the one thing I would like to see changed is don't bring any technology. Educate the referees. Educate them, and make them come out at the end of the match and explain big decisions.
Make them accountable. That's all that we need to do, is make the referee accountable. And look, if a referee gets a decision wrong, he gets a decision wrong. And there are going to be times they get a decision wrong that's going to cost a team, and they're going to get relegated, and they're not going to get the money they were supposed to get. But that's the beauty of football. You know, somebody has to, unfortunately, lose out on a situation. And the only thing I would want changing is that I think at the end of every game, why can't we have an interview with a referee? Why can't a referee come out and say, this is why I made that decision? At the time, I thought this was the situation. But in hindsight now, I've had a chance to look at it, and I made the wrong decision.
And I don't know if you remember, Andrew, a few years ago we had this actually happened. You know,
definitely. Yeah, I remember this. I think the problem is modern day is the fact that I think interviews after matches can only be maximum of 3 minutes long. But I think with most Premier League matches, if you've got a referee talking through all the decisions he got wrong, I think it's going to take about an hour and a half with some of the refs I've seen lately.
Well, was it an Arsenal game not too long ago where it wasn't? Did they give a penalty or it wasn't given as a penalty, and then the players argued and it was given as a penalty?
I'm not sure. No, I remember a game at Stamford Bridge last year where the ref sent off the wrong player when even the players were saying, "No, it's not him, it's me."
Yeah,
that was Andre Mariner, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
But you know, look, that's just stupidity, isn't it? That's the referee. That for me is not a referee that's made a mistake. It's a referee that's not prepared to listen to, you know, to a footballer. And if a footballer's saying, you know, ref, it was me.
Yeah.
You know, it was me that made the foul. It was me that handballed it on the line. You know, you've made a mistake there, mate. Look, there's a massive big TV screen there. I'm watching it. You know,
but also, what does the fourth official do?
Well, the fourth official's job at the minute is just to calm down two managers in some matches.
Yeah, I just.
It's not about more officials and things like that. I just think the fact of the matter is, football is football because of the big talking points and the big decisions that go against and go for you. And yes, they do cost people championships and they cost teams places in leagues and it costs clubs money. But it's the beauty of the game and it's the reason why we all love it. And yeah, the referees are bad and they make some mistakes, but I'm sure referees in Spain and in Germany make the same mistakes. And it's talking points of football, and it's the reason why every single person that listens to this show, every single person that goes week in, week out, every single person that talks about football, it's the reason why we love it, because of the talking points and the decisions, and that's the best part about going to a game at the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. We wanna. I think we'll end the show about around here, guys. But excellent show again. Thank you, Andrew, for coming on. You're coming a regular now.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on again, guys. You know, I always love coming on here talking about football, the greatest game ever made.
100%, and I know we agree with you. And thank you for watching this episode. If you have some topics that you want discussed in the next episode, leave a comment. Tell us how we can improve the episode, and thank you.
Cheers, guys.